As we reported in our previous segment, the U.S. will have to borrow at least $420 billion from China, plus interest, plus another $1.5 trillion from other countries to pay for just the next 10 years of the Bush tax cuts. But in our fourth story tonight, the president says he's on the verge of signing a deal to extend the Bush tax cuts for 2 years. It means breaking both his pledge to renew the middle-class cuts permanently and to end the tax cuts for the rich permanently. And although Republican Senator John McCain tweeted his approval of the framework tonight, along with other Republican leaders signing off, the big question now is Democratic members of Congress, some of whom suggested this weekend they would rather let all the tax cuts expire than give in to Republican demands to increase the deficit for additional tax cuts for the rich. For details on the deal, or the lack thereof, let's bring in Huffington Post senior political reporter Sam Stein. Thanks for your time tonight, Sam.
Thanks, Sam. You have a great first name.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yes, you too. Now, Senate Leader Harry Reid, spokesman tonight, said he plans to discuss the president's proposal with Democratic senators tomorrow. Does the president have a deal or not?
I think he has a deal, and I think it's going to be built on the back of congressional Republicans, Democratic leadership, and however many Democrats those leadership members can corral. I don't think they would go forward with this deal if it didn't have the votes. I think there will be progressive members, very vocal and very upset about this. We're already reporting tonight that Representative Peter Welsh of Vermont is opposed to the deal, is circulating a Dear Colleague letter urging House Democrats to oppose it. But I just don't see the opposition sustaining anything close to a filibuster in the Senate.
So lay out what we know about the specifics of the deal and how much it'll cost us, if you would.
Sure. Well, right now we know that everything's basically a 2-year extension except for unemployment benefits, which is going to be a 13-month extension. The cost of extending the tax cuts just for the rich is going to clock in about $95 billion. The cost of everything else, the tax goodies, the unemployment extension that the administration secured, is about $215 billion. So right there and then you have a small victory for the administration. They got more in terms of tax goodies than they did in giving up in terms of tax cuts for the wealthy. But to say it's anything but a capitulation by this administration is to not do it justice. Clearly, this White House wanted to end the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy. They wanted to decouple it from the tax cuts for the middle class. And they're going home tonight admitting that they couldn't do it, they didn't have the votes, and that they're going to have to relitigate this battle in 2 years.
I mean, Sam, do you have any sense that it ever occurred to the administration to maybe threaten a veto? I mean, George Bush did this during his time in office.
Yeah.
Why nothing of that sort?
It's a great question, and that's something that reporters are going to be asking in the weeks, if not months ahead, when they look back at this fight. It was clear as early as or as late as a month ago that this White House was not going to allow any of these tax cuts to expire. Press Secretary Robert Gibbs said so in multiple press briefings, and that sort of gave away the game, right? If the White House wasn't willing to let anything expire, then they were in a very difficult negotiating stance, because what do you say to Republican members? All you're inviting them to do is hold out longer than you are.
Right.
And so they gave it up there and then, and I think what ended up happening is that Democrats ended up having to find the best deal that they could get.
Does President Obama think he's going to have better luck ending these tax cuts in 2012? I mean, is it going to be a better climate to close these things right on the verge of a presidential election?
Yeah, I've asked a few administration officials that question tonight, and they seemed eager to relitigate this thing. It's sort of funny because it was such a torturous process already. It's almost masochistic that you'd want to do it again. But they said...
On what side are they going to relitigate this?
That's a very good question. They want to see these rates expire, and I think Jared Bernstein, your previous guest, I think this says it all. In an interview over the summer he did with the Huffington Post, he said the problem with a temporary extension is that you're simply inviting members of Congress to continue to kick the can down the road.
Right.
And that's what this administration did tonight. And they're going to have a real uphill battle earning the trust of the Democratic Party that they actually want these rates to expire after what happened.
Sam Stein of the Huffington Post, thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks, Sam.